Hey, it's your boy Ian Mackay. This video I'm gonna do some recent movies I've watched because I realized the last thing I did was my top 50 of all time, and thank you so much everybody who watched that, and thank you to everybody who spread the word or who told me they enjoyed it. The one note I got was that I don't watch enough classics, so I decided to put a classic in this week, which was Butt Boy. I'm just kidding. I watched Breathless. We'll get into it, but I decided it's way too much of a love fest recently, so I need to put in some. The thing that's fun about film is finding things that you wouldn't normally watch, and then holy shit, I love that, or something kind of outside your comfort zone. And I definitely did that this week. So let's get into it. Number one on my letter, or they're not numbers, but my the fourth last thing I watched was Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. And that was directed by Gus Van Sant, 2018, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Jonah Hill. There's like a million people in this movie. The girl Dawn Wiener from Welcome to the Dollhouse is in this. Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth is in this. The guy that plays Scooby from Storytelling is in this. There's a lot of little bit parts. Kyle Dunnigan, who is funny on Reno 911 to 15 years ago. This movie, I had been wanting to see it for a while, but I just been putting it off for whatever reason. That kind of happens. It was one of those, I think because it was Amazon Studios, I assumed it wasn't that good, because that kind of used to mean something. But I mean, Wiener Dog was Amazon Studios. You Were Never Really Here, which I haven't seen yet, but that's Amazon Studios. Like, it doesn't really mean that much. I think all this is to say that that used to kind of be a knock. Like, remember when Netflix streaming what we consider Netflix now, like, used to be discs. I know everybody knows that, but the streaming Netflix used to just be like fucking Astro Boy and like Golden Girls reruns and like not all the episodes and like Coach and shit. So like the quality's gone way up, and same with Amazon Studios. Like, it used to kind of be like Amazon Studios, like what's next, fucking eBay Studios, but the quality's gone way up. So anyway, Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot was an Amazon picture, so that kind of made me not see it for a while. But I finally saw it, and it was really good. Spoiler alert, you're supposed to wait till the end to say what you thought about it, but I really liked it. But this was kind of going to happen either way, because it's one of those, it's an AA movie, it's a movie about addiction. For those of you that don't know, it's Joaquin Phoenix plays John Callahan, who was a cartoonist in Portland, Oregon, who became a quadriplegic after a drunk driving accident. And they kind of tell the story of the movie through his visits to AA and his going through the 12 steps. So this movie was gonna hit me one way or another, either way. As an addict, these movies just hit me. It's like how like the housewives watch Hallmark movies. Like, I watch these. These are in my wheelhouse. The Way Back, I just watched that one with Ben Affleck. That was incredible. That was great. But like, I know that it's handicapped, pun intended. Like, this movie's not that good, but it hits me in a certain spot, so I loved it. But anyway, Gus Van Sant directed it. I don't really like Gus Van Sant at all. I saw Elephant when I was a kid, which is a movie about a school shooting that could never come out today, and it's just drawn out and boring and kind of horrific and not good, and I didn't like it then. I don't want to watch it again now. And same thing with Last Days. He directed Last Days. That was a movie I really did not enjoy. It's about Kurt Cobain's last days, which, why make a movie about that? Like, I get it, and it's art and whatever, but there's an old Patton Oswalt joke where he's talking about Passion of the Christ, and it's like, you're taking those days of Christ to put in a movie. It's the same thing with Last Days. Like, you're making they say I'm not doing the Patton Oswalt joke justice. Look it up. But yeah, to do a Kurt Cobain movie, and it's just the last 3 days where he's all fucked up and just kind of wallowing around, mumbling, and then he shoots himself. Spoiler alert. But anyway, back to this movie. By far, Gus Van Sant's best movie that I've seen. I should note that I haven't seen Good Will Hunting, but My Own Private Idaho is okay. Milk is okay, I guess, the movie. So this was good. This was really good. Jonah Hill blew me away. I knew Joaquin Phoenix's performance was going to be good. He's always good. He just won Best Actor for Joker, which is fine. But he was good in this, but Jonah Hill really blew it away as Donnie, who is his AA sponsor, and it was just a really good performance, a really touching performance. It was something I kind of needed to see personally right now, just being in the quarantine, and I've only gone to AA once. It's not really my thing, but I don't knock it at all. especially the higher power thing. They did a really good job of explaining the higher power thing in this movie, which is to say, I don't know, it's kind of like Fight Club. You're not really supposed to talk about AA. I don't know. I'm not a representative of AA, but the higher power thing, it doesn't necessarily mean you believe in God. It's just kind of putting your shit, just the will to drink, putting the onus of that on a higher power, so it's not the full burden for you to feel, for you to bear. So, like in the movie, Donnie, he puts his higher power is Chucky from Child's Play, which I think I'm going to steal that. That's going to be my higher power. Because Chucky is unpredictable and you don't know what the fuck he's going to do. So it's the same thing with your drinking. Just, it's all about having the will to not drink, or the desire to not drink, and just saying that you're powerless to alcohol and it is up to your higher power. So in his case, his higher power is unpredictable. Anyway, this movie did a really good job of explaining that, and a lot of movies don't. A lot of movies show AA, like the Thousand Little Pieces, Million Little Pieces. That movie was terrible. It had the kid from Kick-Ass, and they didn't portray AA very well at all. But it wasn't really AA. He was kind of more impatient. Anyway, I'm getting very off topic. This movie was great. Jonah Hill's character, and he had one quote in this movie that I really liked, and it really summed up what it's like to be an alcoholic trying to stay on the straight and narrow. And I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to the extent of this shit doesn't go away. Some of this pain, some of this shame, you have to wrestle with it every day or you will fucking die. And I needed to hear that. So this movie, unhandicapped, I'd probably give it a 3.5 stars, but as handicapped as John Callahan was, and I think he'd think that's funny, I don't know. Sorry. I would give it 4.5 stars. So the next thing I saw was Breathless, 1960 Godard. Yeah, so I did my top 50 lists, and a couple people told me I need to list more classics, or at least watch more classics. I don't really think I do. But yeah, I do, but I shouldn't have started here. French New Wave is not it for me. I hated this film. I didn't even finish this film. It felt like scrolling through Tumblr. It felt like scrolling through Tumblr in 2006. The beginning was cool. Well, there was like a car chase, and like that was cool. And for something that old to show a car chase, and he's kind of breaking the fourth wall and talking to the viewer while he's in a car chase, or it's not even really a chase. Well, I think it was a chase. But anyway, he's breaking the fourth wall, and it kind of reminds me of that Kids in the Hall sketch with Bruce McCullough, where he's like, life's a pretty sweet fruit, and he's in his piece of shit car. Kind of reminded me of that.
I love this song. I love this song. Oh, it's so true. I wish the song was a whole day long. Man, I would have the best day that day. I just can't listen to it while I drive. It's that good.
But as soon as the woman love interest came up, I lost all interest in this movie. It was just a very like lovey-dovey, like I the wheelhouse of rolling around in a bed, being cutesy. I don't have time for it. I don't relate to it. I don't care about it. It's not me. I don't know what that says about me, but it is what it is. And that's when I tuned out. I turned this shit off. I fucking read the ending. I just don't care. It's not for me. And I know you could say, I mean, if I was Roger Ebert, I would have fucking finished it and wrote a review. But I'm just a guy watching movies. I hated it. Not gonna watch it again. I get 1 star. The next thing I watched was The Invitation from 2015, and it was directed by, I didn't get her name, which is horrible, but as female director, she actually did one of the pieces in that movie, the XX, not to be confused with the band. That movie was awful. Had I known that this woman directed this, I probably would have never watched it, but it's been on my radar for a while for whatever reason. And it was just like nothing. Like, you know how like an M. Night, the Nick Kroll Fabrice joke is that a M. Night Shyamalan movie, an M. Night Shyamalan martini is nothing with a twist. This is just nothing. This is predictable. It's a thriller horror movie. Okay, so the premise is this couple goes to meet up with some old friends, and things aren't what they seem, and that plays out very predictably. And I mean, this movie, it did tension well. There were some good tense moments, and then there are a couple moments where it's like, is it this thing or is it not this thing? And there's kind of some fun in that, and kind of an ambiguous thing towards the end that was a little fun. But I mean, when there are like mind-blowing horror movies out there and like really exciting horror movies where they go all the way, like Ari Aster goes all the way, uh, Robert Eggers goes all the way. And I know I sound like an A24, like I'm blowing A24 right now, but there are just horror movies that do way more. I don't understand genre people, like where their whole niche is just one genre. Like I can't imagine only watching, like having to watch The Invitation and movies like The Invitation. I feel like I've seen this movie 1,000 times. Just vague, just boring people up against some vague thing, and they don't really explain it, and then it's just, well, the thing you think it is the thing it is, and then nothing happens, and just didn't do anything for me. It felt like a movie like back when Redbox was around. Like you would get like something really good, and then like, oh, I'll get this too, and then that's the thing you get too, and then the really good thing is really good, and then this thing is just, you don't even fucking remember it, and then you forget to return it. You owe all this money for fucking The Invitation, 2015. 2 stars. 2 stars because it wasn't horrible, it wasn't bad, it could have been a lot worse. But I mean, there's a lot of that kind of shit on my watch list, and it doesn't need to be there. Like, you've seen one of those movies, you've seen 100 of them. Like, I'd rather watch a found footage kind of horror movie. I'd rather watch, like, an over-the-top disturbing horror movie. I'd rather watch a horror movie where you buy all in on the monsters. I'd rather watch anything. It's just dumb. So next I watched Butt Boy, of course. Butt Boy. See, so the thing, I got a letter from Spectrum about, like, illegal downloading and shit. Allegedly, I got a letter from Spectrum. So long way of saying I paid money to watch Butt Boy because I'm not downloading illegally. Not that I ever was, but I'm not now. So I paid $5 to watch Butt Boy, so you don't have to. The premise of Butt Boy, this old trope, grizzled detective, alcoholic. He's going after a missing child who he believes is hidden up a guy's ass. A guy stuck a kid up his ass, the whole kid up his ass, and that's the plot we're dealing with here. And if you buy in and you fucking want to go there with them, okay, so I watched the first 20 minutes and I'm like kind of bored and kind of grossed out, and it kind of reminded me of that movie Swallow, which I just recently saw, and where the woman, she's swallowing inanimate objects and like kind of dangerous objects, and she kind of keeps upping it. I think this is in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler. She eats like a game piece, and then she eats like a tack, like a thumbtack. This movie, he's doing the same thing, but just sticking them up his ass. So eventually, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this. Let's suspension of disbelief. A kid can like fit in his ass. Still not good. Like, you gotta go all the way one way or another, and this movie didn't pick a tone. Like, at one point, like, there's so much fucking slow motion in this movie. It did not pick if it wanted to be, like, kind of funny movie. If it would have went with it and been, like, a trauma thing, or, like, even, like, a David Wayne directed, like, They Came Together, that movie, Wanderlust, those kind of movies where just all the way on the gag, all the way on the goof, I would have been okay with it. Like, the movie Bad Milo, it reminded me of Bad Milo, which is a movie where Ken Marino has like gastrointestinal pain, but it's really like some manifestation of something. Anyway, there's a monster in his ass, and that's that movie. But that movie, they go with the goof. They like lean into the goof. This movie, they did not lean into the goof. This movie took itself way too seriously at points, and way too not seriously at other points. But it was just not enough either way. You got to go whole hog one or the other, and it didn't go whole hog either. And the guy that played the detective was terrible. He kept doing this furrowed brow, like Jim Brewer, fucking Robert De Niro impression from 1996, with this accent that I don't even know. He sounded like Joe Pesci, but they were in like the Midwest. It was fucking stupid, and it felt very like amateurish, which you can do so much with so little. Like I was talking in the last video about how Trey Edward Schultz, my hero, He made a movie with no money at his parents' house, and his parents were the actors in it, and it's a fucking masterpiece. Or like that movie Primer, where it's the guy that did Upstream Color, wrote, directed, did the music, everything. He plays a guy who basically goes into a storage unit and like builds a fucking time machine, and you buy into it. It's like very amateurish and looks like a student film, and the dialogue is like everybody's stepping on each other's lines. Like a lot of people accuse Uncut Gems of that, but Primer really does that. And but it's very amateurish, but it works. You buy that they're in a time machine. But Boy is amateurish, and you just don't care. It's like, oh my god, they're really like they're going with this score, and they're trying to make it look good, and they don't, and the acting's bad, and it's fucking mess. 1 star. Yeah. So if you're keeping track, Butt Boy and Breathless both 1 star. Follow me on Instagram at Auteur Deluxe. Follow me on Twitter at Auteur Deluxe. Follow me on Letterboxd at Ween, Ween. Tell 10 friends. Thank you.